William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now. If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Dr. Swansea asked me to collect you, Dr. Reed. Hurry up!
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse.
Yes, Doctor?
Exactly how bad is the supply situation here at Pembroke?
It really depends. Dr. Swansea deftly works his society contacts for monies, but with the quarantine, well, we're in God's hands.
Please, could you point me in the direction of the morgue again?
It's the large boarded-up building behind the hospital. You can't miss it. The key I gave you will open the small back door to it.
Why then do you always work the nights? Don't you ever sleep?
At the Pembroke, we're always hands on deck.
Your dedication to the Pembroke does you credit, Nurse Crane, but when do you sleep?
We staff get our sleep when we can, Doctor. Nursing is a vocation, not the labor of a journeyman.
Lack of sleep and the medical profession always ends in disaster. I've witnessed many a colleague succumb to stimulants to fight exhaustion. Drugs were as deadly as bullets in the trenches.
London's trenches start here at Pembroke Hospital. We are on the front line, make no mistake.
That's all for now, Nurse Crane, thank you.
Neighborhood. Please, sir. I need help bad.
What's going on?
I'm Blight, sir. Newton Blight. I've lost my mate. Can't find him anywhere.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed from the Pembroke Hospital. Please, calm down and give me more details.
Oswald and myself were both infantry, sir. We were en route for the hospital, but... well, we had a disagreement. And Oswald ran off towards the canal.
How long have you been searching for him?
I can't go there. Too many rats by the water. Fucking rats. Can't stand them since the war, sir. Can't stand them at all.
Don't be ashamed, Mr. Blight. Many soldiers who survived the trenches suffer from musophobia. I'll see what I can do for your friend. What can you tell me about yourself?
I'm Oswald's best friend. We served in the same regiment, sir. We've taken care of each other since we came back from the front.
This is a dangerous part of town. What are you doing here?
We were looking for the Pembroke Hospital. We both need help. Treatment, I mean. To get some sleep. Just need to feel better, sir.
What can you tell me about your friend?
His name is Oswald Thatcher. We survived the war together. Oswald is... nervous and quite fragile since we came back from the war.
Where was your friend the last time you saw him?
He went down by the canal. He didn't want to go to the hospital. I think he went to the sewers on purpose. So I couldn't go after him.
Do you need medical attention, sir?
Afraid so. In the war, I was always worried about picking up something, getting some infection. Unfortunately, I've got that fear in London now.
Throughout history, some diseases have done more damage to armies than any weapon created by man. You are wise to be careful.
You're working at the Pembroke Hospital, aren't you? That's a good enough reason for me and Oswald to go there.
I have all the information I need for now. If I find anything out about your friend, I'll let you know as soon as I can.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. If only I were young again. Just a dozen years or so.
Good evening, Mr. Cox.
Dr. Reed. Still working at night, I see. I like that.
And why is that?
People who don't sleep at night always seem more alive to me. More interesting, one way or another.
Do you ever think about that poor fellow I saw you push in the water?
The wound he gave me will make sure I don't forget him. Still fucking hurts. Boss had cut me good.
That man was determined to murder you. You almost died.
What a surprise. The first time I met him, he nearly shit himself. Fucking coward. I guess revenge gives you balls.
What did he want? Revenge?
I recently had to kill his brother. Poor arsehole thought it would be easy to return the favour.
You're a monster, Mr. Cox. An ungrateful and disgusting man.
I'm the toughest bastard you'll ever meet, Dr. Reed. And I don't give a fuck what you think of me.
How is your hospitalization going, Mr. Cox?
This is a shitty place with shitty staff. But as long as I'm treated all right, I'll be fine.
What's wrong with the Pembroke staff?
That bastard you sent to bring me here, Milton, I thought he was going to break all my bones before I reached my bed.
I see. Any other smart comments?
The nurses aren't too ugly. Especially that foxy one, Nurse Crane. Pretty brunette, tough attitude, all like that.
What's wrong with the hospital?
Come on, Dr. Reed. The place is a dump. Smelly, sad, and dirty.
But you're alive thanks to the efforts and dedication of the staff here, aren't you?
What are you expecting, a medal? I thought that saving lives was just part of the job. Must be an unsatisfactory profession at this time, I'm sure.
How long do you think you can escape the law, Clay?
I know this city like the back of my hand, Doc. I know its streets, who to pay, who to avoid, and who to bully. I won't get caught.
The police may be slow, but they will find you eventually.
Well, how come you didn't turn me in then? Nah, Doc, I figure you have something to hide so you can't ask the coppers for help.
I have found the gift from your wife.
In that case, you'll be properly rewarded, Doc. Clay Cox is a man of his word.
I hope that won't make me an accomplice to your future crimes.
Who knows what I might do now I feel invincible again?
How long?
I know this city like...
The police may...
Well, how come you didn't tell me?
I'll leave you for now.
Hey, Doc.
What can you tell me about your marriage, Clay?
Marriage is the sweetest cage, they say. Well, I found myself locked in one with a wild animal.
You mean your wife keeps you on your toes?
No, I mean, we both have claws and we both love to bite.
Am I right to assume your wife's letter pissed you off, Clay?
I was so mad, I threw away the knife she got me when we got married.
Your wife gave you a knife as a wedding present.
That knife has always been my lucky charm. If I'd had it in my hand when I got stabbed on that pier, I'd not have been wounded.
A lucky charm? I never would have taken you as the superstitious type.
We all have our flaws, Doc. Mine's to have my weapon of choice for when the really dirty business comes around.
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox. It's locked. I cannot enter. Balls of Mars, fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful. Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. It's locked, all right. This key will surely grant me access to the basement. These scowls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after blood. It's locked, all right. It's locked. These scowls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage.
on now.
Finally, you've returned, Doctor. Did you find anything of value?
Yes, nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now, this patient here needs immediate treatment.
Duty calls. When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you've finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be... It never ceases to... Good evening, Doctor.
Do you need medical attention?
Well, the proximity of the dead is not the most healthy company, even if the quiet can be appreciated.
Don't take too many risks with your health, Mr. Chidana. None of us are immune to this disease.
And that is a good thing. Death and disease is a constant reminder of our mortality. But you have my thanks, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana.
Tomorrow, more bodies will arrive and then sadly depart.
A giant morgue disguised as a hospital. Time has lost it.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea. But my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
It may seem strange, but your words have brought me some comfort here.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. I understand we both have something to gain from this relationship.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Do you need something, Jonathan?
I have just a few questions.
Then ask away. I'm at your service, Doctor.
You mentioned something about a secret society. A brotherhood, if I recall. Could you elaborate?
Certainly. I've been a member of the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole for several years. We are pledged to monitor and report vampire activity in England as impartial scientific observers.
That explains your nightly wanderings about the docks and the questions you ask.
I feel it wasn't mere coincidence that led us to that part of town. There was something as yet unseen that set those chain of events in motion.
Yet you don't fear me. And still, you know the monster that lurks beneath the civilized surface.
The Brotherhood has studied your kind for centuries. We believe you are as supernatural as a lion is to a gazelle.
Since you seem quite the expert on vampires, what could you tell me about my condition and how it came about?
As men of science, our first step is always to start with what we know. Forget the myths, the hackneyed scrawlings in the Penny Dreadfuls. They do not scratch the surface of the truth you now find yourself in.
The sun. The morning following my transformation. Its rays burned me. There was pain, smoke, and my skin blackened.
You will find there is very little that can kill a vampire, my friend. You have been offered relative immortality. The sun will most certainly hurt you, leaving you weakened and damaged, but it will not destroy you.
Must I take a life to live?
You are a vampire. You feed, and blood is the sole sustenance that can sustain your immortal frame. And only a living creature contains the nourishment you require.
Since I'm the one working for you, what should I know about Pembroke Hospital?
Well, for many years, we have been the only medical facility in this part of town that people can rely on. We support the community here, as well as provide health care.
Where do we stand today?
Oh, to be honest, we cope on a day-to-day basis. The first wave of the Spanish flu last summer took us by surprise. We lack many of the basic necessities needed.
What do you expect of me?
What we need is hope. You were a soldier. This is a war. This white coat's still a uniform. We fight to help the poor, the sick of the East End, the forgotten.
The man we pursued and slew in the canning factory, William Bishop, I believe, was he a vampire?
He was a Skald, technically speaking. The debate rages as to their classification. Some think them a subspecies of vampire, others something else.
How do scowls come into existence?
The name means slave. The etymology may indicate that they are a lesser species of vampire. From what I know, vampires tend to despise them.
Just for clarity, what differences are there between myself and a scowl?
A skull is easier to eliminate, Jonathan, even if they remain formidable foes for the unprepared. Vampires... Now, vampires exist beyond the mortal realm.
We'll see each other again soon, Edgar. Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Have you heard any talk of blackmail going on in the hospital?
If you're running some official inquiry, you had better question the patients. They know more than the staff, especially old Miss Jones.
Tell me, Thoreau, what's the real cause of your dislike for Dr. Ackroyd?
He refuses to admit that your blood transfusion technique is the only way to save Mr. Fiddick. I'm convinced we must use it.
What Dr. Ackroyd really said is that you lack the skill to perform this operation efficiently. Is there anything you have to say about this?
It's a false conceit. Dr. Ackroyd secretly envies your reputation. His jealousy blinds him. I'm not the real target here.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Dr. Reed, may I help you?
What can you tell me about the epidemic, Nurse Crane? I've been out of touch since I've come back to England.
Everyday folk don't know how bad it is. The papers certainly won't tell them. Not as long as the war is raging on, anyway.
News on the front stated that the Spanish flu was under control, at least in Britain.
It seemed to be for a while, but that was only last summer. It returned with a vengeance just over a month ago.
What can you tell me about our patients here at Pembroke?
This hospital was founded to help the East End poor and needy. But since the war and the quarantine, we've had all manner of folk.
Can you be more specific?
Well, veterans, the elderly, dock workers. We even have a few mental patients. If there's space, we take them.
For how long have you been working here, Nurse Crane?
I first volunteered at the Pembroke in 1911, a few months after Dr. Swansea was appointed.
And before you arrived here?
If you must know, this was my first job.
Well, Dr. Swansea certainly has confidence in your abilities. Are you in charge of the nursing staff?
Not in an official capacity, but the Pembroke doesn't always work above board, so to speak.
What about medical protocols?
Dr. Reed, we don't have the money and resources here at the Pembroke like they do in the West End. We do what we can.
How is the duty roster organized?
Everybody works until they can't. If there's time, they'll eat a meal and shed a silent tear.
I'll see you later, Nurse Crane. Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Have you heard talk of any blackmail here at the hospital?
No, nothing.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Have you heard rumors of blackmail going on in this hospital?
Dr. Reed, are you trying to take advantage of me?
Of course not, Mrs. Goswick. I'm just curious.
Well, go be curious somewhere else, please.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick. Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Have you heard rumors about blackmail in this hospital?
No?
I have to go now, sir. But
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
My sweet girl.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
tell me the truth about your appointment as a medic during the war, Rakesh.
The regiment administration appointed me by mistake. I had to learn the job on the spot, sir. Very hard, sir, but I rose to the challenge.
You can't impersonate a doctor. You can't improvise a medical education. People could die at your hands.
You're absolutely right, sir. But as a field surgeon, it was more like being a butcher.
Do you believe you have really helped these people?
My ratings were within the averages of the regiment. I saved lives, Dr. Reed. Does that not say enough about triage and war surgery?
Do you realize how many soldiers died because of that decision? You should have refused.
Yes, sir. I swear I did, sir. But no one listened. When the first wounded arrived, I had to do what I could.
It is an unbelievable story, Mr. Chidana.
It was a time beyond belief, Dr. Reed. But I'm happy not to deal with the wounded. I prefer caring for the dead now.
Have you heard of someone blackmailing people in the hospital?
Pardon me, sir, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana.
More bodies will arrive and then sadly depart.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Have you heard about any blackmail going on in this hospital?
Blackmail? Nonsense.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm.
Have you heard of any blackmailing going on within these walls?
I have no time for mortal games. My secrets are beyond their comprehension, Dr. Reed.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Fear and disgust on every street.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Have you heard rumors of underhand dealings in the hospital?
If you want to know what's going on here, you better talk to Miss Jones. She knows everything. Especially what she shouldn't.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Damn. Hello again, Dr. Reed. I feel better already. Can I go soon?
Goodbye, Mr. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor.
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in this hospital?
There are a lot of secrets round here. I'm not surprised someone tried to make money from them.
What kind of secrets?
I'm not in the gossip business, Dr. Reed. If you want to know more, you better talk to Harriet Jones. She's the oldest patient here.
Goodbye, Milton. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, Nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Hey, Doc.
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in the hospital?
Blackmail? That's not my style. Too risky. The black market, though. Now that's where the money is.
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox.
At least that mistress of the dark.
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you.
The pleasure is mine, Doctor.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Have any of the patients given you trouble?
These poor souls have so little left to live for. I do my best to ease their pain.
The world would be a better place if it were cared for by women like you.
You make me blush. I am simply a necessary evil.
Pardon my boldness, Your Ladyship, but I have questions concerning this condition we share.
As a newborn, your hunger for answers is rivaled only by your thirst for blood. But the questions need wait.
I'm a scientist. My trade is in the deciphering of mysteries, and I need information to feed my mind.
I will gladly answer every question you have, but first, prove yourself capable of resolving my predicament without eating the culprit.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
What are your expectations? Please be precise.
As the newly appointed surgeon of this hospital, you are in an excellent position to ask innocent questions and deftly learn the identity of my blackmailer.
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred spirit.
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient or their family.
If we're dealing with an ordinary criminal, surely you've the means to deal with it yourself, if I may.
As immortal tradition doth dictate, all fangs and hypnotic eyes ablaze, the blood would run like a river. That's what I hope to avoid. Violence has a tendency to spiral out of control.
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
Excuse my impertinence, your ladyship. This is not an interrogation. I assure you that this line of questioning is in your best interest.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital. My visits serve a dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion. It seems you are a specialist in the domain.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition. Is our little mystery closer to being solved, Dr. Reed?
I think of nothing else, my lady.
My situation is delicate, and it occupies all my thoughts. The blackmail must stop. I need assurance.
What is this? Who are you? Get out of my room.
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern. Where's Dr. Swansea?
Dr. Swansea is quite busy, and I need you to help me get acclimated. I have many questions.
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here? You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
If I didn't know better, Miss Jones, I'd be inclined to say you enjoy this type of idle gossip.
God's honest truth, Doctor. It's just the way it is here. Most of these bitches would let you freeze to death before getting you a blanket.
You seem to know more about the goings-on here than anyone else. Beware, Miss Jones, in case suspicion should fall on you.
That's it. Blame the old and infirm. I see those little bitches' greedy little eyes. Just waiting for me to pop off they are.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round. Miss Jones, greetings. How do we feel?
Oh, again? Waking a poor old woman in her sleep? There isn't a poor life needs saving somewhere?
Now, I need to ask you a few simple questions.
Well, if you really must.
Have you noticed any suspicious comings or goings?
It would be a great deal easier to make a list of things unsuspicious in this house of charlatans.
Come now, Miss Jones. Surely it's not that bad.
Have you no eyes? This hospital accepts all manner of souls, regardless of origin. The proper sick cannot heal. We're kept sickened by the refugees.
Everyone here is very capable. I have not seen any instances of unprofessionalism.
Thieves and murderers, the lot. People have gone missing here, you know. Poof, without a trace.
If you could just tell me why you were admitted.
It's terrible, Doctor. What with a pain in my chest, coughing up blood, and I get awfully tired. Wouldn't be so bad if I hadn't lost my house and all.
I see.
No one comes to visit, you know. Not even my own flesh and blood.
I'll come and visit you shortly. Good night, Miss Jones. The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them.
A giant moth